What's up, everybody? Corey G here for the Kaijudo channel, and you asked for it, so Kaijudo news is back. TKC's been really busy with the website that he's been putting up, www.KaijudoChannel.com. All the KMC top 8 deck lists have been going up there. He's working on a few other things like his deck builder that's going to be going up there. So I'm excited to announce that Kaijudo News is going to be back. Every Wednesday, I'll be hosting and bringing you all the news, updates, spoilers, everything that is Kaijudo news. So let's jump right into it. For those of you that don't know who I am, once again, my name's Corey G. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. Been playing the game for about 2 years now. A member of Team Peach, qualified for champs in Season 2. And like I said, really excited to be doing this, bringing you guys a ton of content every week. And so let's just jump right into it. Vortex comes out in just 2 more weeks, so that means it's spoiler time. So we've gotten a ton of spoilers so far. By the end of the week, we'll probably have the entire set. But for this episode, I want to highlight a cycle of cards that we have right now. Those are the Enemy Civ 5 Vortex Evolution Super Rares. So let's jump right into it. First one, let's take a look at Ulfanis Fiendish Overlord. We've got a level 5 8500 Invader Dread Mask. This is a double breaker, and like all Vortex Evolutions, you put them on top of 2 different creatures, and they got to share either Civ type. For this one, for Ulfanis, it's either a light and or 2 darkness creatures. But a double breaker with 2 awesome abilities. Ability number 1, Abduct. Whenever this creature attacks, if your opponent has more creatures in the battle zone than you, your opponent chooses one of his or her creatures in the battle zone and banishes that creature. And the Force Field ability is whenever this creature attacks, if your opponent has more shields than you, you put the top card of your deck into your shield zone face down as a new shield. So something we're going to be doing with all of these Vortex Evolutions is going to be looking at exactly what it is you're going to get out of them for the investment of evolving over 2 of your creatures that are already on the battle zone. Basically, right now in Standard, board presence is king. If you don't have any guys on the field, you're probably falling further and further behind. Most decks are playing tons and tons of creatures as compared to spells. Some of them are only playing 3 to 6, if any, at the moment. So taking 2 guys off your field just to make 1 guy, you want to make sure that this thing is going to do something a lot for you. So this guy, when he comes into play, I think the most relevant ability is going to be when he attacks, because you're probably going to be playing this in some sort of light-dark with maybe some other Civs too, control deck, and you're going to want to attack and get that new shield, because by turn 5, the way a lot of these games have been shaping up right now, people are going to be breaking your shields. You're probably not going to have... they're probably going to have more shields than you're going to have, so you're very likely to be able to get a shield off of you. Attack one of their tapped creatures, and you trigger his abduct ability, they're probably just going to banish the creature that you were attacking that was tapped, so it's very unlikely, unless your opponent doesn't read the card, that they'll end up losing more than 1 creature. But either way, you're definitely going to get that creature out of the way anyway. So you're going to get a creature out of the way very likely, and you're also going to get a shield, since especially if you evolve this on top of 2 of your creatures, you probably have less creatures. Well, you definitely had less creatures than you did before, and hopefully less creatures than them, so you'll be able to kind of get a little bit of a tempo swing in your favor. So I think right off the bat, especially on turn 5 at 8,500 power, this guy is pretty huge. He's going to be able to get you at least 1 shield, and the only thing it's going to be able to swing back at this thing, at this level, is going to be another one of the Vortex Evolution creatures or a Slayer. So if he ever attacks twice and gets you 2 shields, I think that this guy has a ton of value, so I would definitely expect it to be seen in at least a couple of these different control shells. Next up is our Water Nature Vortex Evolution creature. This is World Waker Omgoth. Take a look. We've got a level 7 Aquan Colossus. You evolve him on top of one of your water or your nature creatures. He is a triple breaker for 13,000 power. 2 abilities, boundless mana. When this creature enters the battle zone, you put all cards from your hand into your mana zone. And the second ability, Wellspring of Knowledge. Whenever this creature attacks your opponent, for each card you have in your hand fewer than 5, you may draw a card. So basically that second ability says when you attack your opponent, you're going to draw 5 cards, and you're probably going to ramp a ton if you have more cards in your hand. Usually by turn 7, depending on how many cards you've been drawing, you maybe have 1 or 2 cards left in your hand. But either way, whenever you attack your opponent with them, you're going to draw 5 cards no matter what. Even if you hit a Terror Pit off their shield or something else, or they bounce it back to your hand with a Piercing Judgment, something along those lines, you're drawing those 5 regardless. So this guy's pretty sweet. I can definitely see him being in some sort of ramp control deck. Nice to see that the Water Nature card is much better, since we haven't seen too many of the Water Nature cards that are really playable. You know, Kivu was pretty good for a while. We saw Bronze Arm Renegade be played for a little bit. People are starting to play Boran, so Water Nature is definitely one of my favorite kind of two Civ combinations, so I'm pretty excited to see a card as sweet as this. Drawing 5 cards is awesome for anybody who's ever played King Tritonus or Reverberate or anything like that, so definitely be prepared to play against this guy at some point. Maybe, I'm not sure really any of the decks in this format right now might play him. Maybe the light Water Nature tempo decks might play him as a finisher instead of Sasha, since drawing 5 cards and ramping a ton is pretty insane. So maybe somebody will put a Boulder Fist over him, something like that. But this card is definitely sweet, a lot of value. I'm pretty excited to test. Next up, we have arguably one of the best cards in the entire set so far. Take a look at Draco Mech Commander. Alright, so we've got a level 4 Enforcer Dracon, 8500 power double breaker. Once again, Vortex Evo, put it on top of 2 of your light and or fire creatures. Onslaught ability, all of your creatures have fast attack. And Mobilize, whenever this creature enters the battle zone and whenever it becomes the target of a spell or ability your opponent has, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card's a non-evolution creature, it's level 4 or less, put it in the battle zone, otherwise put it into your hand. So with Light Fire Rush already doing really well right now, I think a lot of people think it's one of the top 2 or 3 decks or so. They get another sweet weapon in Draco Mech Commander. The art on this guy is sweet. He's just got all these lasers and guns and stuff shooting out of him, and that's what it's going to feel like playing this card pretty much. Is the second it comes into play, you're going to be replacing one of the guys, hopefully into play. If not, it's going into your hand. Most of these Light Fire Rush decks are playing. The vast majority of the deck are level 4 or less creatures, putting the Keeper Laws into play that's going to get fast attack. Or maybe you put a Blinder Beetle to tap down one of their creatures. Maybe you put in a Blitzermech Falcor, it already has fast attack, but it's going to be tapping down another creature, and so bring another body with this guy is pretty awesome. For those that have played Magaria the Deceiver, if you play a Magaria and you get another big body with it, it feels really good. There aren't a lot of effects like that in this game for a reason. To be able to get multiple bodies, Beastlord Volcor is another one of those where you already get an evolution creature, but then you get another body into play with him. So pretty much every effect that has been like that in this game so far has been really good. So I'm extremely excited to play this card. I think it's going to lead to a lot of awesome plays. Once again, like we said, we're kind of evaluating that value of evolving on top of 2 creatures, and for this guy to put another guy into play, and at very worst, puts another guy in your hand. And guess what? If they try to Terror Pit or something like that, or even try to Blinder Beetle it, or the tap ability from a Tar Gusher being banished, you're going to get that trigger again. So even without Bone Blades in this format right now, which who knows, maybe we'll see it before the end of the week. Some people are speculating that we may or may not see it. Even if they target it with the Bone Blades, guess what? You're going to get another trigger off that, and that minimum draw a card, which is probably a Containment Field or an Arbiter or a Blinder Beetle Prime or something like that. So this guy is definitely sweet. Like I said, one of the top 3 best cards that I've seen from the spoilers so far, and you can definitely plan to be playing against a good number of these. Next up is Crotork the Mirror. We've got a level 3 Tsunami Dragon, Armored Dragon. Evolution, you Vortex Evolve over 2 water and or fire creatures. We've got a double breaker at 6,000 power and a pretty unique ability. Whenever you cast a spell from your hand, you may then cast that spell from your discard pile for free. So I think this is probably sweet if you end up obviously, it doesn't work on Shield Blast, but I'm trying to think of a few cards, maybe something like Piercing Judgment or something in a bit more of the aggressive deck, since that's definitely what you want this guy to be in, is a pretty aggressive deck. Maybe something in Open where you go turn 1 Blaze Belcher, turn 2 Cyber Scamp or something like that, and you evolve on the top of those, and you start double breaking on turn 3. We've seen cards like Laser Arm Dracon can just win the game by themselves. They just keep breaking shields. They don't have an answer for it, and before you know it, they've got 1 or less shields by turn 4, which is pretty insane. So I think of the 5, this one might be the weakest, but I think that the fact that you can just start breaking shields, double breaking on turn 3 is never a bad thing. So, especially even in Standard, you can do something like this. You can play an Aqua Initiate on turn 1, and then an Ember Adept or something else like that on turn 2. This guy, even on turn 4 or something like that, is still really good. I'm trying to think of a couple more implications that you'll see with his Reimage ability, where you cast another spell from your discard pile for free if you played it from your hand. So if you've got a couple ideas with that, definitely put them in the comments below. This is something I haven't thought a ton about yet, but I'm sure there's got to be something else out there that's pretty sweet with this guy. And of course, the last one that we just saw today, and I pretty much saved the best for last, at least in my opinion. Let's take a look at Scaradorable the Behemoth. Here's your Darkness Nature Vortex Evolution. It's a Chimera Colossus, triple breaker, and let's just skip reading all the words. One of the abilities, it comes into the battle zone and it root traps a guy. The other ability is when it enters the battle zone, you terror pit another guy. So if we're talking about as far as value that you can get from one of these guys coming into play with a 12,000 triple breaker, and it comes in and root traps a guy and then terror pits a guy too, this is pretty much exactly what you want a Vortex Evolution creature to be doing. This guy is huge. You can put, 12,000 power, pretty much the only thing that's going to be bigger than this. Coming that is going to be Boulder Fists, or even Sasha's are going to be around there. But even still, being able to come in, get rid of two guys on their side of the field, whichever one's two that you want, that you can obviously target. Obviously, you can't target Haven, Turnip, and a few things like that. But like I said, board presence is king right now. And for you to bring this guy in, you can get two of their biggest threats off the field entirely. Sign me up. That sounds like a lot of fun to me, especially in these controlled shells. Maybe there's some sort of light dark nature deck that you play this. You start evolving off of Goop Strikers. You can evolve on top of Full Metal Lemons. You can evolve on top of Tar Gushers and Underworld Stalkers or anything like that. So this guy is definitely a house. If this guy does not start top 8 KMCs pretty much immediately, I'm going to be very, very surprised. He's in 2 civs right now that are really, really strong in standard. So I'm excited to play with this card. I think it seems sweet. This card's completely out of control, and I think right now is at least a #1 card in this set, and really looking forward to start testing this guy out and figuring out how completely strong he is. So those are the 5 preview cards that I wanted to go over for Vortex. Comes out in 2 more weeks. We're just about a little over halfway done with the KMC season. I'm going to be in Warwick, Rhode Island this weekend at Game On for the KMC there. Hopefully going to be landing my invite for Champs, which is just 2 months away, right in my backyard of Providence, Rhode Island. Going to be a ton of fun. This is going to be the best Champs ever. You can quote me right here. Save this video, favorite, and if favorite it, God. And if it's not the best Champs that ever happened so far, then I'll eat something crazy. I don't know. We'll come up with something. That Thursday night before, we're going to be holding a team open tournament. You and 2 of your friends build open decks, and you battle out against other teams. We're going to be doing that right at Game On. Really excited about that. Hoping that it's the most successful non-KMC, non-Champs event all time. We'll put the link down in the description below for the Facebook event for that. It's going to be a ton of fun on top of LCQs and Champs and drafting and everything else. I can't contain the excitement. We've got 2 more months, though. We've still got a couple more KMCs. So for right now, definitely check out www.KaijudoChannel.com. We've got a couple more things in the works that are going to be coming soon. Hopefully some more content. These videos are going to be coming out every single Wednesday. We'll probably highlight, for the most part, the updates that we get from Kaijudo.com for all of these. So until next time, duelists, this is Corey G for the Kaijudo channel. We'll catch you next time. Peach.